guys, welcome to Horizon Podcast, episode 24, a podcast empowering women to lead, overcome trauma, and embrace change. Through our community, we strive to inspire women to create a future where they lead with love, confidence, courage, helping break boundaries and reach new horizons. Hi, everybody. Unfortunately, I don't even want to say unfortunately, actually. Let me rephrase that. I am fortunate enough to be able to have my own studio. And whenever there is things that come up, I am able to come and film here. So we are back at our OG studios. There was some inconveniences that happened with the Jungle Studios, but we will be back over there, episode 25. They're doing some construction and we're trying to stay on track since we're already behind. We usually film Fridays. And then we launch on Mondays, but today we're going to be releasing the episode on Wednesday and filming today. But to be honest with you, I'm going to talk to you guys like it's my close friends. I'm going to try to imagine that it's my close friends and just kind of be very raw. Like, I feel like I already am, but we're here. And I'll be honest with you guys, I dislike doing episodes by myself. I do. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me and I give myself a lot of pressure. Let me rephrase that. I give myself a lot of pressure to talk about something or deliver a certain way. And I think about it too much. So then I overthink, so then I stress, so then I forget, and then it doesn't ever go as planned. So today we're literally just, as you can see, we were not supposed to film here. We were supposed to film at the Jungle Studios, but that's okay. We have to stay on track. We have a schedule. And when life, throws lemons at you, you make lemonade and just add your twist to it. So that's what we're doing today. We are learning to pivot and learning to work under different circumstances, right? So originally what I wanted to talk about, kind of like a summary, was and it kind of still falls into place. Let go and let God. And I feel like that kind of applies to this situation because at least I'm grateful enough to have my own place and not have to figure out I would have had to schedule things around. And for me, to be honest with you, film days are very chaotic mentally for me. I've learned to take the day off or take the day very light because I overthink, because I add pressure to myself. So I try to make sure that I'm mentally and emotionally good for every episode. And today we kind of had life throw a curveball at us, and we're just going to maneuver around it and make the best out of it. And I feel like that's life. I feel like life always throws things at you that you're never going to be ready for or you're not ready for. And you just learn how to work through it, over it, under it, whichever way, right? And today's a perfect example of that. So we're just going to go in and just kind of talk. So, I'll be honest with you, within the last months, I've been saying this, and if you've been keeping up with my podcast, you know that, how would I go about it? I come from an abusive relationship, and along with that, there's a lot of PTSD. And what I've been having a lot of trouble with is some of the, how would I say it? I'm trying to find the word, okay? Some of the after effects, there we go, of being in an abusive relationship is, brain fog. You can't really remember anything. Your short-term memory doesn't really work at its potential. things like that. So it takes a lot for me to retain information and keep it right now. So because of that, I try to create like a summary of what I'm going to be talking about prior or a subject. And then normally when I sit here, I totally forget. And I feel dumb, like I do. Like I was having this conversation with my daughter yesterday where she was like, Mom, I really feel slow. Like I can't retain information at school. I can't think straight or hold anything. And I just feel slow. And I told her it's part of the after effects of, the trauma that we've been through. And what's helped me is it's helped me understand that let me rephrase that. Me understanding that has helped me be a little more kinder to myself and understand that it takes me a little more time to understand things or process things, if that makes any sense. And with that being said, let me go back to my original. Let go and let God. Okay. That's what I mean. Let go and let God. For the past couple of months, I can honestly tell you that I have been living off pure faith. Pure faith. And I know I stated this before, since I left my separation, I've really attached myself to my faith and to try things to fix myself and heal myself. And I've gotten very, very close with God and my faith. And I can honestly tell you that within the last couple of months, I have let go of full control. And what I mean by that is that I just do. I just act. I take it one day at a time, which was like one of the best advices that my therapist could give me. It's take it one day at a time. A lot of things have transpired this year that have been out of my control and that have made me question a lot of things. Right? And along those questions have been answers as well. And I feel like the main one has been just, if you trust me, let go. If you believe that I have, I've honestly, guys, I've hit rock bottom. I've hit rock bottom in every aspect you can think of. And I'm currently rebuilding myself up, and it hasn't been easy. It's been an emotional process, which I'm not used to being so emotional, even though when I break myself down, I am a very emotional person. It's just that I'm used to having just one emotion that I knew, and that was always survival and anger. And after getting to know myself and as I'm healing, and it's been very in-depth and very real and very raw, I'm getting to know myself to my core, from what I believe in to what I stand for to who I am, to just getting to know who is Isene, right? And it's been a lot of rewiring. I don't know, I hate that word, but that's the best word I can describe, because I have to unlearn everything that I grew up believing in or knowing, and really have to sit here and look at my now, after everything that I've been through, look at my now and look at who Isene is after everything that life has thrown at me and how I've handled it. And after realizing God has got me the whole way since I left, I've closed my business down. I had to move back in with my family, restarting completely over from scratch. I barely recently, I think, started grieving the fact that I closed my business down 3 years ago, and everything's hitting. And the reason why it's hitting is because everything's calm. Everything's quiet. And I seen it's not used to that. I seen it's not used to peace. I seen it's not used to healthy. I seen it's not used to quiet. I seen it's not used to like things on her time, on her terms. I seen is used to survival. And for the first time, I honestly am living, I don't want to say on survival, but I'm living how life should be. Like, I am happy. I am understanding that whatever life throws at you, whether it's good or bad, there's always a reason for it. And it's all on perception and how you view it that really determines the outcome of it. And I believe that we all have options. And I believe that it's true what they say, like God already has our life planned, right? He knows what we are going to go through. I believe that there is options for us, right? And in every option, you have a choice. And depending on the option that you go with and the choice that you make is the outcome of that. So the way that that I'm living my life now is chaos free. Literally I'm mom 24/7. And what I mean by that is that I used to be a working mom and now I'm a full-time single working mom. So I don't know. I'm balancing everything out. Before I used to think that I did balance it out, but to be honest with you guys, I've had my successes where I never got to enjoy them. And I wasn't happy. I've had the money, I've had the cars, I've had the finances, and I was at my lowest now that I think about it. And now that I am rebuilding from scratch, where I believe that everything must fall, it must crumble for us to rebuild. There has to be no attachment left to your old life. So I'm creating my new life. And with that, I may not be where I want to be, but it's crazy to say I am at peace where I'm at. I am happy where I'm at. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's quiet and I'm not used to that because people that have been through what I've been through are not used to quiet, are not used to peace, are not used to stability. We're used to chaos. We're used to loud. We're used to, there's no peace where we were at. And it's taken me a while to understand that it's okay to not be under that type of environment. And I have literally let go of control. And what that means is I am learning to control my emotions. I am learning to accept what I can't control. And I am letting go and letting God do his thing. And I have been so at peace and so tranquil with that, so happy. My relationship with my children has gotten better. The relationship with my family, we're building, and my friends are solid. I don't walk in confusion. I walk in peace, happiness, and confidence. And along the way, I've learned that I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. I don't even know where to begin, to be honest with you. I've learned that God has a plan. And every time before I film, I talk to him and I'm just kind of like, talk through me. What message do you want me to deliver? And today we had a spin of events that happened. And I don't know how this episode is going to do it, to be honest with you. Now that I think about it, I shouldn't be applying that type of pressure to myself. And this is as raw and as authentic you're going to get me. And I don't even know if Marlo's going to be able to have reels for this, but we're just gonna go. Um, how I've let go of control is I stopped trying to make things go my way. And I've just literally allowed it. And it's hard to let go of control. Let me tell you why. I was used to being in control in my household. Supposedly, I thought I was in control. I was in control in my business because, I'm a boss and, I say how things go. And I'm used to having that mentality and always having control. Control is also a survival mechanism where, because you don't know the outcome of things, if you control things, you think that you are controlling the outcome of it, when in reality, that's not true. So after everything that has transpired this year, I learned to just let things be because everything's out of our control. And once I started listening to him and he started telling me, just let go of control. If you trust me, if you feel like I've gotten you through these past 3 years, and if you trust me, let go. And I did. I stopped really stressing about my finances. I stopped stressing about my kids. I stopped stressing about core. I stopped stressing about things that I really had no control over. And that was the best thing that I could have done. And it humbled me in so many ways, where it also allowed me to be free. And I don't know if I make any sense, but ever since I stopped letting go of control, things just have flown. Here we are in September, and things may not go the way that I want, but they're going the way that they should be. And I may not understand what my future holds, but I trust that he's going to guide me along the way. And I can see that already. I can see that there's things that are happening in my life that are shifting, where I feel like if you have a relationship with God and you start to really get in touch with your intuition and you start to use it more, it gets sharper. And along with my intuition, I've learned to really also know my subconscious. So when you start to combine the two of your subconscious and your intuition, and then your three, and then your faith with God, those three are a deadly combination because you're fearless. And that's in a good way. I don't want to say I walk in fear, but I don't. I know that whatever may happen in life, there's a reason for it. And as long as I keep my faith still and I stand on it, there will be a way out of it. And I'm just learning that perception, honestly, is everything. It's how you view it. If you view something in a negative mindset, you're already throwing negative energy at that, and it's not going to go the way that you planned. As opposed to you, whatever it may be, staying positive about it and understanding that it's out of your control, but it will work out. And I strongly believe that everything that I've gone through has a purpose. I don't know what it is, but here we are. I have a podcast where I'm speaking on it and people are listening to what I have to say. And my goal is bigger than just this. In the future, one day I would love to get into the political aspect of maybe changing something within the DV law or the family law, especially because that's something that I'm familiar with. I'm in that. And I feel like those are some goals that I see myself accomplishing in the future with Horizon, all in due time. And really, right now I'm in a stage where I am healing, and it's different than the healing I was in last year. Last year was a healing of learning my childhood trauma, um, kind of understanding what I had gone through. This year, um, has been a really, really, really in-depth, like, I don't know how to explain, but it's been a lot of, like I said, unlearning and learning and trusting that things will work out no matter what. And they have. And I don't question it anymore. I just walk in it. Something that's been on my mind is the difference between being humble and being confident, and how it can, confidence to some people, they perceive it as arrogance. And I don't think that that is fair to say. I feel like a lot of people think that they have to be humble, but don't own their confidence because they think that confidence leads to arrogance. And like, my whole thing is, I want to empower women to feel confident. You can still be humble, right? But I feel like a lot of people use the word humble in a way where they think that it keeps them level to everybody else, right? When in reality, humble is basically you don't know everything, but you're open to learning, right? Confidence is you're kind of aware of you and who you are, and you walk in that, but you're not arrogant about it. And I feel like a lot of people confuse arrogance with confidence, because if you look at a video and the girl's very confident, people think like she's stuck up, right? When in reality, she loves herself. She's worked to get to a place where mentally she knows who she is, right? In every aspect. And to some people, they may be like, well, she's not humble. But in reality, what is humble going to get you, right? Humble is you just being open to still learning and knowing that you don't know it all. Arrogance is basically you think that you're above people and you know it all. Confidence is you being secure in who you are, right? So I believe that people misinterpret those, and they think, well, if I'm confident, that must mean that you're arrogant. Do you get what I'm saying? And my whole thing is like, learning who you are and being confident doesn't mean that you're arrogant, and it doesn't mean that you're not humble. It just means that you're secure in who you are and your beliefs and what you stand for. I think that a lot of our views and what we believe in has to do on the perception. And what I mean by that is that from what I was kind of doing my research, right? Belief is something that is instilled with you as you grow, right? And it's, how was I was reading, because I like to know the definition before I talk about it, because I feel like some people just, the way that they look at things is, I believe in this, but they don't even know the reason why they believe in it. It's just something that was instilled in them as they were growing, right? And I feel like as we grow older and we become adults, personally, me, I've questioned a lot of my beliefs, and now I'm in a stage where I'm learning to look at those beliefs differently from different points to see if that's truly what I believe to my core. As I'm learning to have confidence in who I am and the type of person that I am, and I'm getting to know who I am as an individual and who I seen is to her core, from my values to my beliefs to my parenting to just me as a person, right? I've learned that there's nothing wrong with being confident, but a lot of people mistake that for arrogance. And I believe that that is projection. So a lot of people, when they see someone that, I am in the gym, I try to be in the gym 4 to 5 days out of the week. I maintain with my appearance, because to me that makes me feel good, right? I take care of my outer just like I take care of my inner. And I'm working in every single way to rewire old Icene to new Icene into what she believes now, right? And I'm learning that a lot of those beliefs that I grew up with no longer, I don't believe in that now. Does that make sense? And I'm starting to appreciate who I truly am as a woman, as a mother, as a friend, as a daughter. And I am embracing that. And I feel like to some people, when you start walking in who you are and you know what you stand for, that can come off as arrogant. But in reality, they're just projecting their insecurities. So they're using the word like, you're not humble. It goes back to confidence. If you believe that you aren't, if you believe that you're not good enough for something, you're carrying that belief, because I believe in energy too. I believe that if you think negative outcome's going to come. And I believe that that is where your belief and your perception fall into play, because you're truly believing that you're not of value, right? So the way that you're going to perceive everything is negatively, as opposed to if you shift that mindset and you go to that, once again, it's a rewire that you have to constantly work on, right? If you shift that thought into, I'm good enough, I can do that. And it doesn't per se have to be exactly about the way people look, right? But just overall as a person, right? Things start to shift different, right? So you may believe one thing, but you may, because of that belief, it shifts you to look at it a certain way. So you have to start looking, I guess, I don't know if this is even right, but you have to start looking at it different to start believing, because you can't just go and change your belief. Your belief is something that has been instilled in you, right? So in order for you to change and to rewire and to trust, right? Like letting go and let God, I'm not used to believing that he's got my back. Yes, I believe in God, and yes, I have faith, but I'm not used to completely letting go of control, right? What I'm doing is I am now looking at it, perceiving it differently, so my belief can shift. So then you're questioning your beliefs by perceiving it, looking at it in a different lens that you're not used to, right? So it's different. Sometimes what we believe in, the way I see it is we have to question that. Why? And I've been asking a lot of why questions lately. And sometimes there's no answer right away, but it is as I'm walking through. But along the way, I'm learning that it goes back to, I feel like people use the word humble in a way to cover up their insecurities. And what I mean by that is, if I say I'm humble enough, right, it's going to make me feel like I'm not better than others. But that can also be that you're covering your insecurities with that, because you're not willing to walk in who you are. You can still shine, right? You can still shine bright. And there's so many other stars in the sky. So you walking in your light doesn't take away from other stars next to you. Yes, one star's light doesn't dim the other. Correct. And my whole thing is like, when you start believing in yourself, when you start centering yourself, when you start stripping yourself and becoming raw and authentic and looking in the mirror and questioning yourself, that is when you get to know who you really are and what you really stand for and what you really believe in. And that also leads to your confidence changing and seeing yourself differently than others. And that doesn't have to be arrogance. You don't have to be arrogant to live in that or walk in that. And you also don't have to, you can still remain humble and still be confident. Why do I think women lack confidence? Insecurities. And my whole thing is like, I have a podcast empowering women, and not only that, but like we have been through, I would say my audience has been through abuse of different kind, right? So automatically we're stripped from any of that. When we leave that relationship, or whenever we're in that relationship, we're at our lowest as opposed to self-esteem or confidence or any of that. So along my journey of healing, I've discovered how beautiful I seen is and who I truly am as a person, and all the wonderful things that I have, character, values, morals, how I am as a mother, how I am as a friend, like all that, right? And along the way, I've learned that I am a great person. But I feel like sometimes women can't, women like me who walk in confidence now can be perceived as conceited, stuck up, or arrogant. All because I've done the work to build myself back up from being so low. But along the road, I've discovered how wonderful of a human I am, right? Of a person. And to some people, it may come off because I am also, I feel like it goes in words with high maintenance women, right? Where I feel like people look at high maintenance women as this negative objective. You're high maintenance. Like, to me, that bothers me, because high maintenance means that I take care of myself and I make sure that I prioritize things that make me feel good. Self-care, self-love. And to me, that could be my nails, my hair. Others, it could be yoga. It could be outside activities. It could be, journaling. It can be Bible studies, whatever feeds their soul, right? So I just feel like everything is based on perception, how they view things. And sometimes it's not even how they view things, but it's how they grew up believing things were. Confidence can mean outer appearance, but that's not just what I'm trying to cover. I'm trying to cover in depth who that person, like, confidence is knowing who you are as a person, not the way you look. That adds to it, of course, but it doesn't define it. So my whole thing is, I want women to understand that it's not just on the way you look, it's on who you are as a person. Who you are is more important than how you look. But how you look plays a part in it too. I want women to know who they are to their core, right? But at the same time, we're in a world where the first thing you're going to do is look, right? Appearance, like, it's kind of like what they say, the first impression is everything, right? So it kind of does go hand in hand with that too, because in order for you to feel your best self, it's unfortunate, but it does go with that mirror. Like, it does go with you looking at yourself and being happy with yourself. And when I started applying discipline in everything, right, including my appearance, including being active, finding what works for me, the hobbies that I enjoy, not only did it help me mentally and emotionally, it helped me physically. And that helped my self-esteem. So everything goes into play. So yes, I want to teach women or encourage women, right, that it's not just about the way you look, but come on, let's be honest. Looking at yourself is going to make you feel better. If you look good, you feel good. You dress good, you feel good. I go to the gym and I try to show up in cute little clothes because it makes my workout feel better. You get me? And I don't put makeup on or none of that, but I have a cute outfit that makes me feel better. And it makes me push harder. But I'm also disciplined in making sure, like, my life compared to where it was 3 years ago is nothing how it used to be. I prioritize not only my physical health, but my mental and emotional health. And I make sure that, how would I say it? I stay in tune with who I am to my core. And that's me having to strip old Isene into who is this Isene. So that goes back to some of the previous episodes where I've stated, you glow different, right? You know how people say you glow different after a relationship? That's true. And the way I see it is, this is why I believe confidence has a lot to do with internal more than outer, but it still goes hand in hand. Okay. You don't have to wait till a breakup. You don't have to wait till go through something tragic or traumatic for you to do a life change, right? To glow up. It's literally starting to figure out who you are. And that could be the smallest things, as far as like what you're into, what your beliefs are, what you stand for, what you like, things like that, right? Taking control of your life. And it also, what it reflects on that, something that I learned is, so I was telling you earlier, I suffer from alopecia. Whenever I have high amounts of stress, I start to get patches on my head. So the past couple of months have been very stressful, and they've taken me back to survival. So my cortisol levels have been off. And the way that my body reacts, because I'm holding everything in, and that's what I learned too during survival, my body's still going to release that. And it's releasing it by my alopecia. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, everything leads back to internally. It's not just outer appearance. Yes, that adds to it. Yes, that helps. Yes, it makes you feel good. And when somebody looks at a pretty girl or a handsome man, whatever you want to call it, somebody that's good looking, right? That gives you, I guess, a privilege, right? It's either good or bad. Like, it goes back to, that person is arrogant because they look a certain way, or that person is full of themselves, right? But I feel like it also goes back to people that are more conventionally attractive also are doing something different internally for it to show that way. Everything is hand in hand. Everything goes hand in hand. Everything. It did. And I'm not saying that it's all about outer appearance, but that goes hand in hand with how you feel internally. It's a whole big circle. It's a whole big circle. And if we just got to know everything goes back to getting to know ourselves individually as people through everything we've been through in life. Life will be differently, and you will think differently when you start looking at your behaviors, your patterns, what you are doing, what you're not doing, to feel confident. Because yes, there is pretty people that don't have the best personalities, that are not the nicest people or are very kind, right? And it catches up. It's whatever you reap, you sow. Whatever you throw out there comes back to you. And I am huge on energy. So however you think is what's going to happen. It's what they say, manifestation. Manifestation to me, prayer and manifestation to me go hand in hand. Because you have to think positive in order to have positive outcome. And you have to attract that, the law of attraction. So if you're always negative and you're always thinking bad and you're always thinking just something's going to happen to you, you're calling it. You're right. You get what I'm saying? So what I've learned these past couple of months is the difference between all of that. I've learned who I am. I learned what I believe in. I learned what I stand for. I learned, you know what I learned too, Marlo? Not to walk in fear. And it's unfortunate that I learned it the way I learned it. And it was when the world, for me, came crashing down along with other people, right? But I learned, one, things out of my control. That was a huge lesson. I learned so much off that tragedy, and it's crazy. But I learned also that I was still walking. I thought I was walking in faith, but I was walking in fear. And after all that happened to me, and after I learned after that, I know that in church we were taught, at least I was taught, not to question God.
You are.
But I'll be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with questioning situations. And there's nothing wrong with being human and having doubts at times, but also knowing to lead with faith more than doubt, because that's what keeps us human, right? So I learned to let go of all fear. I am scared of who? God. That's who I'm scared of. I'm scared of God. I've been through so much, and I have overcame so much that how could I doubt my future? How could I doubt me? God. How can I doubt me when I've gotten this far? That would be kind of questioning God, wouldn't it be? Because then that means that I wouldn't have faith in the plan that this is what we're told in church, okay? God already has, he's already written out your life. If you have faith, why are you questioning? If you have, because in church they tell us, God already has written your life out. He already knows what you're going to go through. Yeah. And this is where I believe what I was saying earlier is that he gives us options. Depending on the option that we pick, depends the outcome that we will get. Yeah. So I know that I used to question, well, if he already knows my life, why am I going through this? Right. But what I didn't understand is he's giving me options. And depending on the option that I pick is the outcome that I'm going to get. My route changes. So in life, we are given options and we have to pick an option. We have choices. Depending on that, it depends on what outcome we're going to get, what route we're going to take. So I can sit here and cry all I want that I picked my ex and I had a horrible relationship, and I can cry about it, or I can, they recently taught me alchemy, turn my pain into a strength. And I changed my perception on how my life came out and the choices that I picked, because I made the choice to stay there that long. I made the choice to be disrespected and take everything. I did. It's a choice. I could have left at any moment and I didn't. And obviously it wasn't easy to leave either, but here we are. Right? So I believe that everything is a choice. Everything, we have options, and depending on which one you pick is the way that it's going to come out. But it's also on perception, how you view it. I could have sit here and cried and make this whole podcast about how unfair my life was, as opposed to, yes, I went through that for such a long period of time, but now I'm learning to not lead by that. That's not my life story. It's part of my life, but it's not what defines I seen. And yes, it's allowing me, I believe, a walk into what my future holds. It was already destined for me to go through that, because those are the options that I picked, right? But now that I'm aware that I'm in tune with my faith, that I'm in tune with my intuition, that I'm in tune with my subconscious as well, now I see things differently and I'm able to choose from a different place. I'm still going to be given those options, but I'm able to choose differently now. And I have more logic than I have emotion, where I'm able, I guess I see it kind of like a screening in a way. I'm going to think with my intuition. I'm going to think with my subconscious. I'm going to ask questions, and then I'm going to dissect it before I make a choice. As to before, I was walking in blind. The growth that I feel like I've experienced And everything that I've gone through and has transpired this year has been, it was already set that way. It was already destined that way. It was already written that way, right? It's now, how do you overcome it and learn from it? And what I learned is I'm fearless because my faith is so strong in God. I've let go and I've let God. Literally. I don't question. I'm patient and I allow it to be. I don't control. I don't try to change. I'm now at a point in my life where whatever, whether it's good or bad, I will find a way through it. Everything that I went through, all my hardships, now in the stage that I am in the maturity that I've reached and all the stuff, I've learned to be wise, right? To use it to be wise. Obviously, I have a platform where I'm talking to other women and I'm trying to help them, guide them through that. Part of it is learning to let go of control. And that's a trauma response. And I said that earlier. It's because we don't have control of anything. So if you have a little bit of control, you think that you're able to change a situation. And that's the worst thing you can do because you're going to let yourself down.
Yeah.
Some things you can't control. And that's where let go and let God continues to come into my life, where I don't want control no more. I've had it for so long. I didn't know what to do with it. I was drowning in it. And yeah, it made me feel good in a moment because I thought I had control, but in reality, that's not what it was. It was just, you perceived that you had control, but in reality, there was no outcome. The outcome was different when I thought I had control, as opposed to now I just let go and let God. And whether it's good, bad, there's a reason for it and there's a lesson. And now I guess I turn it into wisdom. I don't fight it no more, because when you fight it, that's when stress comes, anxiety comes, depression comes, all that. And I want to, whatever remaining years I have here left with my children, I want to be healthy internally, externally. I don't want to have this alopecia. I don't want to have this stress. So I'm learning, really, it's okay to walk in your confidence. It's okay to let go of control. It's okay to not know what can happen and just let be. With that said, guys, today was kind of like I would say my close friends episode. We kind of went in every direction. There was no specific topic. Okay. But I hope you guys understand a little bit of what I was trying to say. And this is why I dislike doing single episodes. I'll get better at it. Okay. But I hope you got something out of this episode 24. You know what? Like I said, when things don't go your way, it's okay. There's always a reason. And you just make the best out of it. Things out of your control. But let me know what you thought about this episode. And thank you for the shares. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. Thank you for all of it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in to Horizon episode 24. Thank you guys. And we'll catch you next time.